In 1980, if you had traveled to the area now known as Shenzhen City, you would have stumbled upon a rural village home to around 30,000 to 58,000 people. This rural village is just above Hong Kong, which at this point is still British land, but all of this was about to change soon. China was changing quickly. After the Chinese Civil War in the late 1940s and the consolidation of power within the Chinese Communist Party throughout the 50s and 60s, China was now able to begin its rapid growth and development of its economy. China had been under the rule of many different governments and groups. After a shocking defeat during the First Opium War, which lasted from 1839 to 1842, and the Second Opium War, which lasted from 1856 to 1860, China went through an economic collapse and general low point. Although they were not completely colonized, unlike the British Raj to the south, many Western nations were constantly trying to gain spheres of influence within China's borders. Civil wars and world wars alike tore the nation apart. So when the Chinese government began promising a restoration in China after they had won the Chinese Civil War, people took it with a grain of salt until actual changes began happening. And one of the most prominent and clear examples of this great change was the city now known as Shenzhen. As mentioned previously, it lies to the north of Hong Kong and is part of the Greater Pearl River Delta, which stretches from Shenzhen to Guangzhou and has a total population of 42 million people, and that number is quickly moving upwards. Today I will go over the expansion of the Shenzhen city and the amenities that it has today as a result of this urbanization. First, it's important to acknowledge that although China as a whole is considered to be communist, there are some interesting characteristics that don't necessarily fall into the communist line of thought. One of these less communist ideas is the idea of special economic zones, an area in a country that is subject to unique economic regulations that differ from the other regions of the same country. The SEZ regulations tend to be conducive to foreign direct investment. For China, these special economic zones were essentially bubbles of capitalism that help progress technological advancement and foreign investment. The first Chinese SEZ was Shenzhen in 1979, and from that point, the population skyrocketed. China also allowed for various tax cuts and incentives in order to motivate foreign investment into Shenzhen and other three special economic zones that were all created in southern China. In the years between 1979 and 2014, the GDP per capita of Shenzhen increased by 24,569% as people flooded into this upcoming and growing city. The GDP of Shenzhen in 2017 was $338 billion, surpassing both Hong Kong and Singapore as rapid urbanization continued. The city is considered to be the Silicon Valley of China, housing various tech giants such as Huawei, ZTE, and Tencent, and its own stock exchange. The city also happens to contain one of the largest Chinese ports, the largest Foxconn company in the world, and is the host of a large golf tournament known as the Omega Mission Hill World Cup. The city is the most obvious and explicit examples of Chinese advancement and technology in the modern day, and with Xi Jinping, the Chinese leader, announcing a new special economic zone in Jiang'an New Area, there are bound to be more cities like Shenzhen in the future. If you enjoyed this video and want to know more, my sources are in the description. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos. Thank you for watching.